everyone. This is Professor DePaulo welcoming you to Psych 100 fully online. And so I'm going to give you a brief introduction of the course and go through the syllabus and talk about the Launchpad software program that you're going to need to utilize for the online homeworks. So we first sort of are set up here on the home page of the course. So you should all have access to Blackboard homepage and my course here. And I gave a little welcome message here, basically just talking about how you want to follow the weekly guide. And the weekly guide is on the left-hand margin of the Blackboard page. And this weekly guide is the key to basically doing everything in this course. And I'll talk about the weekly guide a little bit afterwards. I want to go through some more introduction stuff. And I'm going to talk about the syllabus and how you have to complete a series of assignments each week that are found in the weekly guide. And if you do that and you study and you prepare for the exams, which will all be given online, you should be perfectly fine. And I think you'll enjoy the course. The course will be manageable as long as you do the work each week. And that's the key here, is that you have to keep up to date week to week because the assignments are due every week. And if you don't do the assignments on time, they're always due Sunday at 11:59 p.m., you'll end up with a 0 on the assignment. And then if you have to make it up, you have to contact me, and I have to go through all this whole process to extend the deadlines, and it's really inconvenient for both parties involved. So I suggest you do the work each week, get things done, and not have to ask me at the end of the semester to make up work, because this is not a good pattern to get into. This course has to be done on a weekly basis. You can't just basically decide, I'm going to do the whole course the last 2 weeks of the semester. That is not going to work for this course. You must do the work each week or you're going to get zeros. Now, if there's an emergency, you can email me, contact me, talk to me about it. And I'm pretty accommodating with emergencies as long as it's a legitimate emergency. The office hours for the course will be on Zoom. The office hours are going to be Monday afternoons, 2 to 4, and then Wednesday afternoons at 1 o'clock and by appointment. As far as the content for the course, you have to buy the Launchpad software to do the homework in the course. That is not optional. So I'm going to go through the syllabus with you guys briefly. So the syllabus is found under course information. And this first document here says syllabus. Click on that. And so I'm opening up the syllabus here. It's a three credit course. Everything is online. The office hours are Wednesday 3 to 4. I'm going to be changing those because those are club office hours. So the office hours are going to be Wednesdays 1 to 2. And I'm also available Mondays 2 to 4. So that has to be changed because I didn't realize that they were doing the club hours, with the whole situation. But they're going to be doing, I guess, virtual clubs here. And the club hours are always 2 to 4 on Wednesday. So I will amend that. The course description is a survey course covering both past and present developments and research findings in the field of psychology. Psychology is a multifaceted discipline that seeks to explain how human behavior is shaped by mental processes. So it's basically the study of behavior. And more recently, if you take a cognitive point of view, cognitive perspective on behavior, thoughts and maladaptive cognitions can play a big role in influencing behavior. If you take a behaviorist point of view, you think that it's rewards and punishments. If you take a psychoanalytic point of view, you think it's your childhood conflict with your parents or childhood issues that are not resolved. So there's a variety of ways to actually look at what is causing behavior. I tend to be more biological and more cognitive oriented. but I accept a variety of explanations because there's a variety of factors that play a role in shaping behavior. So we're going to be covering the most, I would say, the most relevant, the most important topics. It's really a subject, psychology, that should be covered over the course of 2 semesters, like it is at many other colleges. But within the CUNY system, it's condensed into 1 semester, which is called general psychology. And we're trying to squeeze everything in into this 1 semester. And so I'm going to be covering experimental methods, neuroscience, the brain, development, learning and memory, personality. Uh, I will also talk about clinical psych and social psych. There's a lot more in psychology than what I'm mentioning, but these are the topics I'm covering for this course. It's a very limited course. It's only 1 semester. The course is fully online, so it's taken through Blackboard, and you should refer to the weekly guide to see which assignments are due each week. So the weekly guide, as I mentioned previously, is the key to everything. If you see the weekly guide, and it's right here on the left-hand side says weekly guide, that's going to show you what's due every week. I'm going to get to that in a second. You also need the Launchpad learning program where you're going to be doing your homeworks. And the ebook is available with the Launchpad learning program. So you don't have to buy a hard copy ebook. If you buy the Launchpad program for the homework that I'm going to be assigning you, you automatically get the ebook. They come together. So if you just want to buy Launchpad, you can buy Launchpad directly from the publisher, which is Macmillan. And you can buy Launchpad, you'll get the ebook. If you don't mind reading the book online, and personally, I read lots of books online. I'm at computer screens, tablet screens, cell phones, everything. I read, it's probably not good for my eyesight. My eyesight's pretty bad now, but I read everything online on the screen. So if you're like that and you're okay with the ebook, you could just buy the Launchpad program. That saves you some money. I've also arranged for the paperback, the binder copy, right, the loose leaf, to be placed at the bookstore. That comes with the Launchpad access code. So if you buy the loose leaf from the bookstore, you get the Launchpad access code with it. So then you don't have to pay for a Launchpad on the website. You just enter the code. You already paid for it when you bought it from the bookstore. But you must have the Launchpad access. I don't care whether it comes from the access code sold at the bookstore or whether it comes online from the publisher, Macmillan. You must have that because that's where all your homework is going to be completed, and that's not optional. Yes, it'd be great to have everything free, free textbooks and things like that, but I find that the free textbooks don't really do a good job in really providing the necessary structure that you have to have in a fully online course. So I've looked at the free resources. I'm not a huge fan of them. And sometimes you have to pay for things that are better. So I apologize that you have to pay for the book or for the Launchpad, that is. But you kind of have to. It's a good program. I think it will help you a great deal. I've been using it for many years, but you have to pay. I mean, that's part of education is paying for books and things. And some people use free books. They like their free books. I personally don't like the free books that I've examined for intro psych and for many of my other courses. I'm not a big fan of them, the open source materials. So you have to buy the Launchpad. I think it'll help you during the semester really learn psychology, and that's the goal here. Whatever it takes for you to learn, we have to utilize. And I believe that the Launchpad is really important for that. So it's not a waste of your money. I think it's vital for the course. However, if you plan on a career in psychology, you may not want the ebook because the ebook will expire in 6 months or so. If you're planning for a career in psychology and you want a reference, a desk reference, then either get the loose leaf or order a used copy online for cheaper. So you can get the Launchpad through the Macmillan publisher, and then you can order a cheap text, a used textbook for much cheaper. You can buy it. You don't have to rent it if you want it for the long run. So that's really up to you whether you want a resource or not in the long run. Some of you just don't care. You just need the resources for the course, and then when you're done with the course, you're going to move on. So that's fine too. It really depends on how much money you have to spend and what your long-term outcome is, your goal, I should say. Here are the learning objectives and the measurements. You can read through that. These are the general education outcomes. You can read through that. It's not that interesting to me. Required reading is Myers and DeWall, Psychology and Modules, 12th edition, loose leaf, with the Launchpad access code. So that is at the bookstore. So originally I placed an order for the 11th edition because I was trying to use the 11th edition because they're coming up with a new edition next semester. They keep churning out edition after. It's crazy how fast they churn out editions. So I wanted to skip the 12th edition, and that wasn't possible. So I had to order the 12th edition. So if there was a little confusion with the editions at the beginning, I apologize for that. You need the 12th edition of Psychology and Modules by Myers and DeWall. And this I ordered as a loose leaf with the access code to Launchpad. So you can get that from the bookstore. The campus bookstore is currently closed, but you can order it and they ship it right away. In the meantime, if you need to do the Launchpad homeworks, you can do a free 2 weeks of Launchpad. So when you log in and create an account, you'll get 2 weeks free, and then you have to purchase the access. So it used to be 3 weeks, it's now 2 weeks. They keep cutting things back, but if you need the 2 weeks free trial until you get the book, get the 2 week free trial. You have the ebook and you have the Launchpad, and you can work on the assignments while you're waiting for the book to come in with the access code. And that way it holds you over. You have a 2 week free trial. But make sure, if you're doing the 2 week free trial, definitely make sure that you're using the same email address for the trial. You want to use that same email address for the actual purchasing of the product. You must use that same email address. If you use a different email address, it creates two accounts in my system, and then you appear under two different account names. And I don't know how to merge those accounts. It becomes very difficult, and it creates a big problem for me. So please use the same email address for the free trial as you use for the purchasing the Launchpad product. Do not screw that up because it makes my life very difficult. That could be your BMCC address, it could be your personal address, email address, but you must use the same address for the free trial and the purchasing of Launchpad. Course theme: the greatest discovery of my generation is human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind. That's William James, founder of American psychology. Very big player within the whole psychological landscape, the development of psychology in this country. Use of technology, we're going to be using lectures. So there's all kinds of lectures I've created on YouTube, and everything's accessible from the weekly guide. So you find the correct week in the weekly guide that you're doing the assignment for. You click on it, and then everything shows up, and you can watch all the videos through the weekly guide there. Everything's on YouTube. And then the Launchpad assignments will be in the weekly guide too. You click on them, it'll bring you to the Launchpad homepage. There will also be two small written projects this semester. One is a correlational project where you do a little bit of data, and not very little bit of data analysis. You do it in Excel, it's very basic. And then you just interpret the correlations. And the other project will be a behavioral modification project towards the end of the semester when you're actually trying to change a behavior, a behavior that you're utilizing that you find troublesome. So generally, this is like a self-improvement project that lasts a few weeks. And so that's kind of not even like a project. It's just kind of something you're doing to yourself, and then you're going to write me a short report on it, detailing week by week what happened, and then see if you're successful changing your behavior. Here is the Launchpad. In the syllabus, I've included the Launchpad um, website link here, so you can create it. It's also on Blackboard as well, but I put it on the syllabus. You just click this link, it takes you to Launchpad. So let's click this link and let's look at what Launchpad offers. So I click that link and I'm right here at the Myers DeWall Psychology 12th Edition modules in Launchpad. And this is who I am, and this is Psych 100. So this is your course. Now, if you have an account, you can sign in. You probably don't have an account, so you need to then create an account. You need to fill this in. Remember, the email here, if you're doing the free trial, has to be the same as the email for the purchasing the product. Otherwise, the accounts get screwed up. You have 2 accounts. I've had people with 3 accounts. It's really hard to figure out what you're doing if you have 3 accounts. So please keep the same email address consistent throughout this whole process. So you're going to put all your information, you're going to hit next, you're going to follow the steps, you're going to create your account. It's very basic, very easy. Right, so I'm going to go back because it's not that interesting. Just to fill in the information. You'll get an email confirmation. And once you get the confirmation, you can then sign in because you've confirmed your email, you set up a password, and now you can log in. So I'm going to log in. Put the password in. And now I'm in Launchpad. So the first thing, you're in Launchpad, you have some stuff about stuff in the news, articles you can read if you want. It talks about upcoming assignments. Just hit enter the course. And now you're in the course. Now this is what my course looks like. Your course is gonna look slightly different because you're not gonna have access to all this stuff. So if I hit preview a student, so this is what your course looks like. And these are the assignments, and here are the due dates. So September 6th is the first due date. And it's this welcome unit, and it's also part 1, the story of psychology. So they're both due September 6th. So I gave you some extra time to do this because this is a truncated week. And wherever you see to do, you have to click on it. So don't click on the to do, click on the actual title of what the assignment is. So this says to do September 6th, to do September 6th. So you have to do both of these for the welcome unit. So you click on it, and it gives you a quiz. What you might want to do is click on this part here, welcome to Launchpad, and it'll give you sort of a brief tutorial. So you're going to read all of this stuff and introduce you to Launchpad. Do that first. And then once you're done with that, you're going to do this. You're going to start the quiz. It's going to show you some stuff, show you some questions. Here's the interactive tour. Here's the videos. So you're going to basically look at this stuff and then answer the question. If you click on this, it's an interactive tour. It's going to walk you through Launchpad. So it's kind of a tutorial for Launchpad. And that's all you have to do is click on the tours and videos and then answer the question. So it's just checking to see that you're actually paying attention. That's all. And it helps familiarize yourself with Launchpad. There's 10 questions here. It's not difficult. You just have to actually watch what they're asking you to watch so that you're familiar with it. Obviously, I don't want to save my progress because I'm not a student. So that's getting started. Then there's a video here that he wants you to watch, the author wants you to watch, talking about the intro psych course. So you can watch that video. And every time you do this stuff, you get points. So you have points. So I just click the video and see how it turns green. that means I got points. 5 out of 5. Pretty easy, right? Watch the video, you get 5 out of 5 points. And then for the quizzes, you get graded. So you may not get 5 out of 5 if you get things wrong. So the quiz I didn't do, and it's showing me that I did 50% of the welcome unit. Well, that makes sense. I watched the video, but I didn't do the questions here. So I did half of it. So I got to finish this. And once I finish this, this will turn green. This will turn green and it'll say I'm done. Where it says done, that means you're done. So that's the welcome unit. And then obviously, I want you to complete module 1. What is psychology? So if you want to read module 1, you click on it. You see this first entry here. This gives you access to the book. So if you click on this, you're going to get module 1 in the book. And there's module 1 in the book, the ebook. So the ebook is just the regular book in an electronic format, right? It's the same book. You just scroll down and you can figure everything out about it. You want to read everything in the ebook, and you're going to keep scrolling down, and then there's like some questions they ask you, right? Just check to see if you're following it correctly. There's videos in here that you can watch, right? Everything is kind of combined. And you go through this whole chapter, and once you're done with the chapter, you're done. You've read it. So once you've read it, you can then do the assignments. You should read the chapter, and you should also watch my videos for each module. So I have videos for each module. You should follow that and read the chapter. And then do that before you answer any questions. So if you've done that, you watched my videos, which I'll show you later, and you've done the Launchpad readings, you read the book. Then you could do the assignments here. So here's an assignment, 5 points. Concept practice, it says to do, that means you have to do it. Click on it, and it brings you sort of an interactive process here. You have to finish going through these 7 slides, right? So you're done with that. You get that, once you're done with that, you'll get credit for it. The next part is psychology subfield. So click on that, and it brings you once through 10 more slides here. And once you're done with that, you'll get credit that you're into this learning curve, which is kind of like a little game. It asks you questions. You click on this button, it starts asking you questions. It identifies the things you know and you don't know, and then it goes through it again. So it's kind of like flashcards. It helps you study. You don't get sort of penalized for the wrong answers. You're supposed to get enough answers to get to 600 points, and once you're done with that, you're done with the activity. So it's not like a quiz where you're being, actually assessed directly with like a score. It's more like a game. Then here's a video that I have you watch on critical thinking. Here's another video I have you watch for history of psychology. Here's another video, what is psychology? So there's a lot of videos here at the beginning to get you familiar with things. And once you've watched all that, you'll get credit, and then you're on module 1 practice quiz. This is worth a little more. It's worth 10 points, whereas everything else is 5, because it's a quiz. So when you're ready, you hit start the quiz, and then you'll get questions. And you'll have to pick the correct answer. So it's an actual quiz, and it's worth a little bit more points. And then once you're done with that, you're done with week 1. So that's all due September 6th. And that'll be entered into your grade book that you have access to here where it says grade book. Another way to look at the due dates is through the calendar. So the grade book shows you the grades. So here's my grade book if I was a student. And I only did 1 assignment, so I did 5 out of 5. So far I've been perfect, but here's all the assignments for the semester. And you do them each week. I did the welcomes, I did the get starting one. I just watched the video, so it gave me 5 points for that. Now, at the end of the week, when it's due, so this stuff is due 9/6, right? So this stuff is all due 9/6. So if you don't do it by 9/6, the welcome unit and module 1, you will get a 0. So you have to do it by the due date or it automatically changes to a 0 and it's going to tank your grade. And that's what I mean, you have to do it each week. You can't jump ahead. You must do the work each week it's assigned and do it on time. And if you do that, you're going to be fine. Where people get into trouble is they just do what they want. And that's not how the course works. Just because it's online and we're not meeting face to face doesn't mean you make the course, you decide what the course is like. And so countless students come to me at the end of the semester and say, I missed like 6 chapters, 6 modules. That's not good. Why did you miss 6 modules? Because you didn't keep up with things. Things went on in your life. You got busy. I understand. People get busy. But the whole point of me giving you deadlines is to make sure you're doing the work each week so you're not overwhelmed at the end of the semester. Because there's no way you can learn the material if you wait to the end of the semester to do everything. First off, you're going to get zeros on everything. You're going to have to beg me to open up the assignments again. And I'm not going to be happy about it. So do the work each week by the due date, by the time it's due, you're going to be fine. You're going to learn the material. You're going to be okay with the test because you've already learned the material through Launchpad. If you do all the work I ask you each week, I guarantee you, you're going to be fine in the course. If you don't do it the way I suggest, you're going to have problems. You're going to have problems. This is not a course where you can just kind of go away and come back. I expect you to be doing work each week. This is one of the assignments, the Launchpad. I'm going to be giving it each week. The other major assignment will be the discussion boards. So every week you're going to have a discussion board too. But I'll talk about that shortly. I don't want to finish with the Launchpad here. So that's how what Launchpad looks at. You just click on things and it opens up. You do them. It's pretty useful. If you want the ebook, you can get it through Launchpad through the menu here, but you can also click on ebook here. And you can actually read the entire ebook. So I want to read the welcome unit, click on that, right? You can read that. Getting started. This is an actual quiz. But you just click on this stuff and you can read the ebook. Here's module 1, what is psychology, right? So you want to read the stuff in the ebook. Just click on what is psychology. There you go. Here's your ebook. So you can either get the ebook through the assignments that I give you, right, that I just showed you before, or you can get the ebook through, so here are the assignments like I showed you before. What is psychology? You see this first thing? If it doesn't say to do, it's probably the ebook. That means you can read it, right? Same thing if I go into the next one, module 2, this first one, this is the ebook. Click on it. Now you're reading module 2. Or you can get the ebook here on this in the margin here in the menu. And if you want to check the calendar to see what assignments are due, you can click this calendar button. And the calendar button shows you all the dates and it shows you what's due. So here on September 6th, these assignments are due. If I want to then, do the assignment, I have to click on it. If I click on the assignment and I hit open, it brings me right there. So whether you like the menu like this, the drop-down menu and clicking on everything, or whether you want to use the calendar and then see what's due and then click one by one, that's helpful too. But you just have to remember that if you do this one, don't click on it again. It's finished. So move on to the second one and just go down the list. So these assignments are due on the 6th, these are due on the 13th, these are due on the 20th, and so on and so forth. So there's 2 ways to get out the assignments. So Launchpad's pretty easy to navigate. It's convenient. I think you'll be fine with it. Now, go back to the course. Actually, go back to the syllabus. We're not done with that yet. That's not that. We're going to put the syllabus. Okay, let me open the syllabus again because I don't know where it is. So that's the Launchpad. So here's the registration information. Just click that link. You'll be fine. This is in Blackboard, so you should check the The course guide. So the course guide is your to-do list, basically. So where it says check the course guide, if I go to the weekly guide, this tells me week one. And what week one's about is history of psychology, right? Here's the learning objectives. If I click on this, here's my course guide, basically. So what I did was I put the course guide as a to-do list. So this week one to do, this is the week I'm talking about. This is the topic. This is the book readings. This is the assignments is Launchpad and the discussion board. And the due dates, Launchpad and discussion board are due 9/6 at 11:59 p.m. So this tells you basically everything that's due this week. And you get it right here. So that's the to-do list. It's very convenient. It's better than the course guide that I used to use because I used to have the course guide separately. I just started putting the course guide in each week. So you actually can just look at this and know what you have to do. These are the assignments due. These are the dates and the times they're due. And these are the readings, and this is the topic. It's pretty basic. It's hard to get confused when it's laid out like this. I also put the Launchpad registration here too under week one. This is the weekly guide, by the way, right? So weekly guide is where all your assignments due each week will be. You just have to find the appropriate week and then go through it. And each appropriate week has a to-do list where I tell you the assignments that are due. So you have to do Launchpad discussion board. This is registration. I showed you this before, but I also put it here in case you don't see it. Under course information, this is Launchpad registration again. This is lecture for module one. So this is the YouTube videos that I made. So I've made lectures for every module. Now every module, the lecture was made for the 11th edition, and now we're in the 12th edition. So you might see a screen that says like a different module. So it might say like module 6 on the PowerPoint, but it's really module 5. Uh, it doesn't matter. It's the same content. They just when they revised the edition, they combined chapters 2 and 3 from the 11th edition. They combined those two modules into one module. That's the only difference. They combined modules 2 and 3, so it's the same text, it's the same content. They did a very slight tweaking, and they do this all the time so that they can basically kill the used book market. They want to keep churning out editions every couple of years because then you can't find old books for cheaper. You have to find the new books. And so they make more money that way. That's why they keep putting out edition after edition after edition. And it happens to be that this is a very popular book. I used this book as an undergraduate myself, the Myers book. Back then, it was not the 13th edition. It was like the second edition, it was one of the very early editions. And it was an excellent book back then. I think it was the second edition that I had, either second or first. And it was great as a student. So I've decided, and I used it also at Rutgers when I was teaching there. And now I'm using it at BMCC because I think the book is excellent for an intro book. I really enjoy the book. And I've used it when I was a student too. So I think you're going to appreciate the book. It's a very good read. It's not a hard read. It's a very interesting read. It's structured appropriately, but there's not much difference between the 10th edition, the 11th edition, the 12th edition. Now they're coming up with the 13th edition. There's really minor changes that don't impact the content. The content of the psychology has not really changed much. I mean, there is new research, but it's not like groundbreaking research that's changed the field as a whole. There's some interesting stuff being done, but there's nothing that's like, rewriting the textbooks in psychology in the last few years. So the books are basically the same. I've made the lectures, so you click on this lecture, you're going to go to YouTube, right? So, and you're going to see history of psychology, and I've made these lectures a couple years ago. They're still exactly the same lecture. Nothing has really changed. So you go there, you'll listen to my lecture, and that gives you a different perspective than maybe the book, because I talk basically on my own about things, give my own examples, and it gives you a different perspective than a little bit than the book gives you. So it's good to have multiple perspectives that'll help you learn. So I've lectured for every module you're doing. I've recorded lectures on YouTube for all of them. So I ask you that you actually watch them because it takes a long time to do, and I think they're pretty decent. Launchpad. If you click on this link, it takes you to Launchpad, which I just showed you. So it takes you right into Launchpad. We just were here with the other link on the registration, but I've put the link to Launchpad in each weekly guide. So you just click and then it takes you right to Launchpad. So it says complete assignments. I click here, I get to Launchpad, you log in, you do the assignments. And then the discussion board. Every week you're going to have a discussion board and you're going to have to submit a post. So except for the first week, after the first week, all the posts will be due on Thursday, the original posts. And then I want you to reply to one classmate. Not for the first discussion board, but for every discussion board afterwards. You're going to post on Thursday and you're going to reply by Sunday night. Reply to one classmate, at least, so that there's actually a discussion and not just everybody posting individual stuff. And I want you to give a thoughtful post and a thoughtful reply. Don't just give me, I agree with you. That is not a legitimate reply to someone's post. I agree with you. Or I feel the same way. That's not legitimate. I want you to actually give me a solid paragraph for a reply. And the post should be several paragraphs so that I can see that you're actually thinking about what's going on, the material, analyzing it, and giving me a thoughtful response. Not like I have 5 minutes to post it, so I'm just going to write a few words like I agree and then see what happens. That's not legitimate. You know what happens is I read this and I say to myself, like, why is the student doing this? Like, I'm not stupid. I can read. I know when you're putting effort in, and I know when you're putting no effort in. It's very obvious. So I want to see effort. I want to see thoughtfulness. I want to see that you actually read the material, you're learning the material, and you're giving me a decent post that makes me feel that you get it. And that you're not lazy and you're not waiting to 11:55 p.m. and you have 4 minutes to post. Don't do it. I can tell right away when students do it. It bothers me. It really annoys the hell out of me, to be honest with you. So don't do it. You don't want me annoyed when I'm grading your assignments. I'm pretty easy to deal with, but if you're showing no effort, see, if you don't make an effort, then I'm not going to make an effort. And so what happens is if the student makes no effort throughout the semester and then they're begging for extra credit and they're begging to not fail the class, and they're begging me, obviously, and then I just think about it, I'm like, you're not making an effort at all. And now you're begging me for help. Do I want to give you help? When I told you at the beginning of the semester, you need to put in time and effort into these assignments. And it puts me in a difficult position because I'm probably a little bit annoyed that you're not, taking the course seriously. So the easiest way to avoid this is do the assignments each week. Put effort in. I can tell, that there's effort being put in. And if you do that, we're not going to have an issue. You're not going to have an issue in the course if you do the work. If you don't do the work and you want to do it the last week of the semester, guess what? You're in trouble. Or if you disappear and then you come back mysteriously after a month without contacting me and letting me know anything, I'm not going to be happy. I'm going to say this student just doesn't care. And I get it. The whole situation in the world is a mess. The world is a mess right now. It's a mess for everybody. It sucks for the students. It sucks for me too. It sucks for you. It sucks for everybody. It's a disaster. The way the world is going is terrible. And hopefully it will change. But right now it's a complete disaster. And we have to get through it somehow. And so I understand that that's difficult to deal with. And if you lost your job, it's tough. I feel terribly for you. It's difficult for all of us, but some people it's hit them really hard. Some families have been really, really, really hurt and really suffering, more than others. And, you know, it's tough. It's been brutal. But now we're trying to get past this. We're trying to get back to some semblance of normality, and your education is a semblance of normality. It's a semblance of normality for me. What am I going to do? Watch the news 24 hours a day and not do anything else and realize how screwed up everything is? It's not a good idea. So we have to kind of push forward through the problems we face as a society and try to get back to a sense of normality as much as possible. School is very important. And when the vaccine comes and when the social problems are addressed, if ever, in this country, they need to be addressed, obviously, uh, you'll be on the right track. You'll have your education, you'll be ready to move forward and, start a career or move on to graduate school or move on to bigger and better things. And, it might be difficult right now for us to get, through all of this. It might be altering your concentration. It might be hard for you to think and study and all, but it's something that can take your mind off of some things that are going on in the world temporarily, which is kind of helpful. And it's building for your future. And that's kind of what the course is about, right? Whether you're going into psychology or not, it's a core foundational course that can help you down the line in a variety of ways. Just learning about human behavior is going to be beneficial no matter what career you're in. So I think this is a course that's very helpful to people. And I think it's an interesting course, and I want to make it an interesting course for you. So let me get back to the discussion board again. Here's the topic. This is for week 1. It's just introduction. Why are you taking the class? Who are you? Why are you taking the class? What career are you looking at? And something interesting about yourself. Make sure this is written grammatically correct, with proper punctuation, and the content should be PG rated. So please keep your posts, accessible to people. I don't want to be reading about crazy things that you talk to your best friends about or whatnot, or your family. You're talking to me, you're talking to your classmates. Let's keep it appropriate. And you don't have to reply to anybody else for this assignment, although you could if you want. If you find something interesting that people wrote and you want to reply to them, you can reply to them. You can make connections that way. So to do the discussion board, you click on this link, and it tells you where the post is due. There's no reply for this, so just the post is due 9/6. And in order to post, you must create thread. You put the subject in here, you could put week 1, or you could put introduction, and then right here you type in your response. I do not want any attachments like PDFs or Word documents attached. Just type your response in the box. It's much easier that way. And when you're done with that and you put the subject, which is introductions or week 1, whatever you want to put, your name, right? Hit submit, and you've submitted the post. And now I can read it. Your classmates can read it too. But I will grade your posts and I will grade your replies. And the maximum score on the post and reply combined is 10 points each week. And I like reading these introductions because I get to learn about you guys and what you're interested in and your careers and what you're doing, what you're looking forward to. It's actually really interesting for me to read the introduction posts because I don't meet you face to face, and so it's kind of cool to learn a little bit about you, and I can give you advice too. If I think it's relevant and I have some advice to give you, I'll write back and give you advice. So I'll answer your posts. I'll reply to your posts too and give you feedback if I feel like I need to give you feedback or especially on the introduction stuff. I'll write back. Even on the other discussion boards, I generally write comments. So I'll grade and I'll write comments of what if I agree with you, if I disagree with you, if I feel like you need to develop the post more, if there's a problem with the post or the reply, I'm gonna write you comments. But I kind of like the introduction stuff because you get to know these people virtually, and everything is virtual now. So forget the days of going to campus and relaxing and you know meeting people in class and having a discussion as a class. Those days are wow. It's kind of crazy to think that the our whole society has been turned inside out. Even something that even the cafeteria. I mean, people take it for granted. You go to the cafeteria, sit down, have your lunch or dinner, maybe talk to people. Just get away for a second, and it's like, wow, this is something that we didn't think was great. We thought it was okay, standard, and now it's the best thing in the world, right? Sitting down with people in public, having a meal with them, talking. We always took that for granted, and now it's not there. Now it's we can have a meal together, but we have to be on Zoom. So we have to Zoom a meal. You know, Zoom a meal is not going to be as effective as as fun as you go out with your friends, right? Or you go out with your friends if you're, of course, if you're of age, if you're of legal drinking age, right? You go with your friends out to have fun. Well, now you can't do that, right? So now it's like, okay, you're gonna Zoom the bar scene. I don't think so. Through Zoom, it doesn't have the same kind of impact, right? So for those of you that are kind of ignoring this advice and going out on your own and partying and not wearing masks and stuff, and I know some of you probably are doing this, you have to stop because you're basically killing people by going out and ignoring the rules and not you're not killing your friends who are probably in their most of them in their 20s, but you're possibly passing it on to their families or to someone that's a little bit older or immunocompromised, and they get sick and then they could possibly die. So it's just not worth it. It's not worth it. It's not worth your own pleasure and satisfaction and fun if you put somebody else's life in danger. It's not how we function as a society. Whether you think I'm overblowing it or not, we all have to sacrifice. And so I know this is a little bit off topic, but I have to bring it up. Please follow the rules. Go where you have to go. Don't go everywhere in the world. If you have to go somewhere, wear a mask. Keep away from people. Because I personally know several people that have died, and you may know several people that got sick or died too, and it hits home. And we all have to, as a society, play by the rules, and to stop this from getting out of hand. So, virtual is not the best, but it's what we have to deal with now until we get treatments or a vaccine, and we're ready to go back to some sort of normal life. But for now, do my course online, enjoy my course, work hard, do your, FaceTime, Skype, whatever, you know, live chats, Snapchats, whatever, Instagram, videos, whatever you have to do virtually. Don't take chances though, because you don't know if you're the one that's infecting someone vulnerable, and you're completely oblivious to it. You're just out having fun with your friends. And I've seen this way too much with the college population, the people between 20 and 30, and the teenagers too. They're just out having a good time. Unfortunately, it's at the expense of other people. People are getting sick still. So Just be responsible. So that's the end of my public service announcement for this week. So let's go back to, once again, the weekly guide. Find the appropriate week, see the to-do list, do the assignments that are linked here. The Launchpad is always going to be linked here. The lecture is going to be linked here. The discussion board is going to be linked here. You take care of that. You spend time on it. You learn the information. You'll be fine. And when there's assignments, there'll be links in the weekly guide, but they also can be found under written assignments. You don't see any right now because I don't have them posted yet, because I don't want you doing them like at the beginning of the semester. I will have them posted at the appropriate times, and you'll see them under written assignments. Now, for those who have never taken an online course before, you want to do this e-learning orientation. I've done it myself. It's pretty good. It walks you through how to use Blackboard and how to sort of deal with these online classes. So if you've never taken an online class before, do this e-learning orientation. No, I'm not going to like ask you for a certificate or anything. This is just to help you navigate the online environment. And I've done it. It's pretty useful, exercise, because I wanted to see how good it was. It's pretty good. They spend time doing it. So please do the e-learning, orientation if this is your first online class. It's right here on the left. If you want your grades, you click on grades, right? It'll show you your grades here for each assignment. These are mostly discussion board grades. The Launchpad grades will be in the Launchpad under the grade book on Launchpad. And then at the end of the semester, I will take the Launchpad total grade and I will move it into Blackboard. So these are mostly for discussion board grades. This is about me, virtual office hours, 2 to 4 on Monday. I have 3:30 here. It's 2 to 4. And this is a little bit about me. I will send out the Zoom invitations for the intro course. I will send them through the announcements. So you'll get them on the announcements page here, right? And you'll get them in your email too. So this just talks about what I'm interested in studying. I have a background in neuroscience. I did fMRI research, brain imaging research. When I started at Rutgers, I had a little problem with my advisor. We didn't see eye to eye, and I had to like drop him. And when I changed advisors, I dropped the brain research. And so now I'm mostly focused on health psych and the clinical psych. And of course, I'm really focused on stats and data analysis. That's kind of I teach the stats course here, so I teach Psych 220, behavioral stats. So I always teach the stats course here. I've taught it for like 15, 16 years altogether. I teach research methods here. I like those courses. I enjoy that kind of more technical detail. I'm also interested in neuroscience, psychopharmacology, which is basically how drugs work. I'm interested in mathematics. I'm interested in music. Music's probably my number one interest besides psychology and stats. So I'm very much into all kinds of different music, and spent a lot of my youth seeing a lot of performers many, many years ago, back in the first part of my life before I got into this. As a graduate school / professor chained at your desk motif. So that's it. Weekly guide is the key here. And that pretty much wraps it up. So I hope you enjoy the course. If you have any questions, come to my office hours via Zoom. You can also email me. I usually respond pretty quickly. You must buy the Launchpad, just another reminder. And I think the course is a fun course, and you'll learn a lot, as much as you can learn in one semester. And I try to make it as interesting as possible and as easy to follow as possible. And I think you'll get a lot out of it. So happy to have you in the course. Hope you enjoy, and I'll probably see you online in some format down the road. So bye for now. See you soon. Bye-bye.